Hello, my name is Joe Hardesty, and I'm the Library Director of the National Society for the Sons of the American Revolution Library in Louisville, Kentucky. It's my pleasure to be with you here today. And if you are like me, you're one of the millions of people that are sequestered at home trying to stay safe during this coronavirus pandemic. We have lots of time on our hands, and I'm sure a lot of you are researching your family history. I hope you are. And I hope that you're also taking time to contact those older relatives of yours who certainly want to hear from you and to talk with you about their day. They have awful lot of memories. Many of them are very good and pleasant and cheerful, and some perhaps can be kind of sad. I'm sure all of us can remember where we were and what we were doing the day that the shuttle Challenger exploded soon after liftoff. It's April 3rd, 2019. Today is April 3rd, 2020, and I remember exactly where I was and what I was doing on this day a number of years ago when the tornado came through Louisville and just tore up this place, just devastated it. So we all have these memories that we can share with our loved ones and talk with them about it, walk down memory lane. I hope you're doing that. The other thing that I've been doing is researching my old records to find out what people were writing to me about in terms of genealogy research. I had lots of questions, and I thought I would just go through my files and dig out some of them and share them with you. So for the next several episodes, we'll be talking about some of the really cool questions that I received. They were good questions then, and they're still great questions today. So let's dig into one of them. Teresa from St. Louis wrote to me several years ago to say, I'm homeschooling my children. What can my kids expect to learn by doing my family genealogy? Well, I would imagine lots of people are homeschooling their kids now, and working with your children to do family genealogy is a great thing to do when you have time to spare. And we all have plenty of time, don't we? Well, what are some of the things that your children can learn by doing family genealogy? Well, of course, they could learn about who was their great-grandparents and their great-great-grandparents. That's easy to find out. It's just a matter of picking up the phone and calling grandpa or grandma, and they could begin to tell you who they were. So the most basic is names of your grandparents and great-grandparents. But in addition to the names, they will also find out where they were born and where they died. So if you could then pull out a map or look one up on your favorite website and put on a map where your great-grandparents were born and died and were married. So children begin learning geography by doing genealogy. They learn where the counties were in their state and what are the county seats for those counties. So geography is great. When did Ohio become a state? When did Arkansas become a state? When did Florida become a state? When did Dade County in Florida become a county? And what is the county seat for Dade County? So these are questions that begin to get answered when you're doing family genealogy. Another great byproduct of family genealogy research is problem solving. Kids begin to really think about, well, if I could use a federal census record to tell me the names of the children in great-great-grandparents' family, what other record can I use to find the date of birth of one of their children? What other resources are out there? And they begin to think about that. And when you think about a problem, eventually you'll solve it. Let's hope so. So problem-solving skills is another great product. We mentioned geography. You learn sociology too, and civics. My grandmother was born in 1900, and she did not have the right to vote until the 19th Amendment was signed. And she was a very young lady when she was given the right to vote. That's a really cool thing to learn, especially as we're approaching the 100th anniversary of the signing of the 19th Amendment. So we learn about civics and government, and as well as politics. We learn about religion. You may discover that your ancestors were Methodist for a number of generations and then became Presbyterian. Where were those churches? And what did Presbyterians believe when your great-grandparents were alive? So you begin to discover facts about your religious heritage as well. But I think probably the most important thing is to listen. Ask your children to listen to the stories of your great-grandparents or their great-grandparents. Listen to the stories. That's what we want to, that's most important, to discover who our ancestors were, who our relatives were, and learn about what struggles they went through, just as we're going through struggles now. But we'll make it. They made it, and we'll make it too. So that's the first episode of Questions and Answers with Genealogy with Joe. Thank you for tuning in, and I invite you to come back and visit us again for another round of questions. Bye.